just back and forth as they go from one farm to the other with that too. It's heavy, heavy traffic on that road now. We always said it, a lot of times it matches 85. And they were speeding so bad, and finally last year they started patrolling it, and they had marked the speed limit. They had to, because there was accidents you can't imagine. And then I was telling them, people thought you didn't have to stop out in the country. And there were a lot of people got killed, because here they come and go right through, and so.
This is Chris, and I was wondering, after the Great Depression and the Dust Bowl, if you guys prospered and expanded your farming and your land, or did you eventually get pushed out of agriculture by the bigger farms?
This is happening a lot. Either you're in and keep expanding, or you're going to lose out. I don't know, there's very few small farmers, everything is so big, and
Yeah.
so.
We talk about the Dust Bowl, but can you talk about the weather and what happened, why they called it the Dust Bowl? What happened in those years?
Well, that's really what caused it. Everybody lost their crops. The wind just blew and blew and blew. And my brother was small at that, and then he stood at the window and he said, why doesn't Papa, as he called him, cut all the trees down so the wind would quit blowing? But on our front lawn, when we moved into our own place when we got married, all the fence posts along the road and on our front yard, there was where Grandpa and Grandma used to live, and then they put up just a wire fence, and that was all just level sand on our front lawn, what would be our front lawn now.
Jeez.
And it just ruined the crops. You just didn't have them. And then the irrigation too system was so different, Now it's all really controlled. You only allowed so much water, and they got head gates, and they'll lock it so you can't open it any more than what they open it, and so.
So what really happened, though, it just started, year after year, it started to dry out, right? Is that what happened? Or did it,
What,
was
I
it
don't know,
sort of?
they said it went a long time,
Yeah.
a drought, just like we went.
But did it come on gradually, or did it just dry out and stay dry?
I'm really not aware of it. One thing, too, that was bad is the beets, the sugar beets all got froze in that one fall, and most of them couldn't harvest their beets because it was so dry and they couldn't dig them. There was no water to soak the ground. If they tried, they just cracked the beets, and so they lost their beets, and that started it too, just people lost so much money on that. And then prices, of course, just went clear down. What you did raise it, there was no market for it.
So you got cash by selling eggs in town, that kind of thing? Is that what you did?
Yes, I dressed geese for the Safeway store. Now you
You
wouldn't
did?
hear. Yeah, they take all the geese I would dress and for that. And then I think that's the only thing we sold to a store like that. And then,
This is Chad. Did you, what did you do on your free time when you were growing up? What were your activities that you did for fun?
Well, when I was 16, I started a stamp collection that I'm still playing with. And then this is feminine, I made 2 quilts. My mom drew the design. One's a real pretty butterfly, and then the other was a flower pot with 3 big tulips, all appliqué. I love needlework, and I'm the type, and Mom taught this to us too, don't ever be idle when you sit. Do something, she said, and if it's nothing more than coloring, but keep busy. But I want to do it with my hands, something.
Well, just a note
And
about
then
this.
I studied music. Then when I was first married, I had 7 pupils during the summer, just beginners. Gave piano lessons and
So did you grow up with a piano?
mhm.
How long did you play that?
How
How long did you play the piano?
well, until about 5, 6 years ago, and I'm getting too crippled, and I sold my piano. I miss it very much. I played it for pleasure, though, for myself. I did. Oh, then in schools years ago, they have a contest. All the schools in the district, and then the teacher would always have me enter that. And the one time was real. I was so shook. And I think it was done on purpose. They took the casters off of the bottom of the piano, so it was real low. And here I come, and I had to sit with my feet to get down the pedals. Well, then that threw me a walk from this, and then here's the way you sat, so I only got second in the county. I came so near speaking that I want this piano raised, or I'm not playing for you. But every one of those that were there had to sit like that, with their feet clear to the side on those pedals.
This is Chris, and I was wondering if you attended church.
What is that? What church denomination?
Yeah.
Baptist. And that's in Greeley now. We left, let's see, there were 3 or 4 families. Well, that'd be 44 years ago, because my last child was just a year old when we left there, and we started a church in Greeley then. And that's where we're still going.
Did you? Oh, sorry. Did you try to attend even during the hard times, like during the Dust Bowl? Did you still try to attend church when you could?
Did I know what? I'm not understanding what. I understand your word. Now repeat what you.
I just wondered if you attended church during the Dust Bowl, if you were able to make it there.
You mean a regular?
Yeah.
Yeah, every Sunday. We don't drive. Well, this started with my husband because he had heart trouble. We never went out at night, but every Sunday morning, and we all had jobs, teaching. And right now, all I do is help hold the bulletin on Sunday mornings, and then. But everyone has been very active in church. Oh, and then when we first started, I was the pianist, and then also the organist, and then they got others. I just backed out and let the others take over. Mm-hmm. So we did all that.
So, well, Ms. Peter, so both your parents were Baptist too?
What?
Both your parents, were they Baptist?
Everybody. My grandparents, on my dad's side, the granddad and his brother started the first Baptist church in Germany at the time, before they came over to United States. Their church there. And then I had an uncle in Philadelphia. He was the first pastor. He went to a seminary back there. And that was all. Everything was Baptist. That's it. And now it's Northern Colorado American Baptist. And next summer, our little churches host to the whole United States, our denomination. That they're going to be up at Estes Park for that, but we're host to them. And already 2,000 people have reservations up there to attend. We're really a small group. And the church I belong to has been almost the same count year after year. We call it a family. We know right now who's missing and what. And but it's a closeness. We share with them when they're in want of something. And then if somebody is sick or if something good happens and you're happy with them.
Mhm.
It's a family. I call it a family church. We're very, very close. And 60 is about all our best attendance most of the time. Real small group.
This is Chris, and I was just wondering what you thought about the Kennedy assassination.
Who's a kid?
Kennedy?
When Kennedy was killed, what do you remember about the Kennedy killing?
Oh, I was ironing that day
Mhm.
when the news came over, and I don't know, it really shook me, and frightening, it just, I definitely remember that, because I had the radio going, and all of a sudden they stopped and said, your president was shot. And it just, I don't know, you just wonder now what's the future. It's frightening, because with the new leadership coming in. And
Did you have television at the time? Did you have TV back in, what would have been, yeah, you would have had, no? Do you remember when you first got TV?
Oh, we had radio. That's
Right.
all we had for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're kind of old-fashioned. The little grandchildren come spend the summer with us, and the little one day when he was carrying wood, and he said, Grandma, it is so old-fashioned here. We have to carry, you don't have a microwave, you don't have a dishwasher, you don't have a clothes dryer, and we've got to carry wood. And he went on and on like that. So it took quite a while, and then before we got a television.
Yeah.
But I'm not interested in computer.
Yeah.
I watch, how others are. Lynn can do a little bit. He
Mhm.
likes to play games, but that's my son.
Do you f-
I'd rather read and then do handwork and.
I was gonna make this point earlier that she still does a lot of needlework, right? You're doing needlework, and what do you do with the needlework? You've been donating it to the museum, is that what it was?
What?
The needlework that you're doing?
Oh, this is for a gift shop in Greeley. They used to take our jewelry. This is another thing I do. We opened a rock shop and worked with jewelry. And this has died down so much so too. They're all more into faceting stuff because it was too expensive to carry and transport the heavy raw material. And so that has all kind of fizzled out. And then living out in the country, people don't want to drive any distance. If you aren't in the mall, you just, they don't know, bother to go. And because we're 10 miles from town, right now, but at one time, we did, when my husband was still living, we would do about 5 shows during the summer when the children were home. Went to Nebraska and Wyoming, and I guess those were the only, and then Colorado, the different towns. And then my husband died 25 years ago, and I've been working with it ever since. And then last week I sold all the equipment, but I have all the jewelry, and I still have all the mountings and findings for that, and all the rocks. It was just the equipment I sold.
I have a question. This is Peter. Did your family ever get into stocks?
Get what?
Like stock market? Buying stocks of other companies?
He's asking if you ever owned stock in any companies.
Oh, no, nothing like that. No, we never went into anything.
All right.
How about gold? Did you ever own gold? I guess in the rock business you own gold, no?
No, that's when we stayed away from crystals and from the precious, well, like gold. This is interesting too. Do you know what, some people get excited when they hear about 24 karat gold. That's liquid gold, and that's just when they coat it, just a flight. And a science teacher, when I was in the 8th grade, demonstrated, and he had us all bring a penny, and he put 24 karat gold on our pennies. It was in a big tank, and then he had to put the little few drops of this gold liquid, and then with electricity on something, and then it fused it onto our pennies. And that's all it is. And 10 karat is much heavier and is a better grade than 14 karat. The lower the number, the better and thicker the gold is in your jewelry. And the mafia controlled the jewelry for J.C. Penney's, and maybe
Really?
some others, but this I know for.
Yeah?
They controlled the jewelry business. So,
That's interesting.
You remember when Al Capone and his group were
mhm.
in the news all the time, yeah?
I just remember about it, but
Yeah.
I didn't.
The Chicago mobs and all the rest
Yeah.
of that, yeah?
Is there a Greeley mob?
Is that-
Rocks are very interesting, and then in the reader, no, this is a little monthly catalog, or not a catalog, a report every year. 2 years ago, somebody in Canada, real close to where my niece lives, found an area that is solid jade, the mountains, and it is just beautiful, light green. And the only way you can get in is to fly in. Everything is, and they, of course, right away they put a claim on it. So, and they only work it during the summer. And here it shows the mountain, just this beautiful, the whole thing, just clear. No inclusions, nothing. And so, oh, and then we went dinosaur hunting. Bone picked that up, and that is more along the Utah border is where we would go and pick that up. And then I said we realized wherever we found it, that it'd be up on the high mesas, never down low. So I said when they, in the Bible it said the great flood, they was talking about that, well, that showed the animal, everything went up trying to get away from it, and that's where we would find the bone. And we met a couple, and they were in the Reader's Digest, and I have that. They found the largest dinosaur bone that had ever been in the United States, right side Delta. And they were out looking for gold, and they had their Geiger counter, and all of a sudden the thing, here buzzed away, and they got all excited, and here this bone instead of gold. But they found so much, and then they called from Utah University came, and it showed. I've got pictures in the national how they encased it in, to preserve it when they. And there was one, the big one was on top, and there was a smaller one right under it. And they did count, marked it all off, and then they encased it in a kind of a plaster or something to preserve it till they could get it to their museum. And they took us right to the spot, these people, and we met them. And then they got so much themselves that they opened a little store of their own right on their place, and we bought several hundred pounds off of them. And their great big leg, and I saw just the lower leg was about like that, and great big round, went to the Smithsonian Institute in Washington, D.C. They sent there. So it's a very interesting, not only, working up jewelry, it's what the stone is, and what it's. The little neighbor girl said, well, how do you catch them? I know he was talking about dinosaurs.
Did Did you ever find any dinosaur bones?
Hmm?
Did you ever find any?
Oh, yeah, I
yourself?
said, and for a long time, it kind of died down, the excitement. And yeah, last year, 5 different men came within 1 month. Everyone wanted strictly dinosaur bone, dinosaur bone. And then one kind of peeved me. I kind of gave him a little cut on the price on it. And then when he was all done, had it, and then he told my son, well, now this all goes to Germany. And he was going to send it there. Germany is the top stone cutting for outside of diamonds. See, I think England something is for that, but Germany is for all stones, you know, like that. So he was going to send it, and I don't know if he was going to get it back as finished, polished, rocked, you know, for so it'd fit the jewelry or something.
Anything else? So let's talk about your courtship, when you met your husband,
Well,
and what that was like.
it was short and sweet because he came and worked for my dad.
Yeah?
Lived with us for 3 months and, well, no, longer than that. So then we were together every day. His stepdad was, just ignored him. He had to wear his mother's high-top shoes to work in the field and walk all day behind a harrow. And it ruined his feet and legs. It would just, and like that. And then when my dad hired him, the one day he noticed something. He had no soles on his shoes, but his stepdad would never buy, you know, or let him have any money. And so then he came to live with us and spend pretty much room and board, because it was during the Depression too, you know, and so.
So your farm was still, you were still farming during the Depression, you still had some crop.
Oh, yeah. And then we had to, which I don't know how, we had to sell it, that's not what way I should put it. And first an uncle had that house built, the one we're in, and then there were an uncle, and then we had renters for a while, and then my sister and her husband lived there a while, and then we moved in during World War II when we came back. My husband worked in the shipyards in Portland, and so we've been there since '42. And he loved to hunt and fish, and then of course rock hunting was it. And then we have an arrowhead collection. Oh, it's only, let's see, 7 boards. And some of these are getting very expensive too, are really valuable. And so many places now, anything, whether you want to go rock hunting or dinosaur, name it, it's all leased private land.
Mm-hmm.
And where we used to get Montana agate, like Lucille Ball and all of those, and here's an oil company, they bought whole sections where we used to hunt.
Yeah.
You can't go on any of that anymore.
So what was the decision to get married? Was that, how long had you known each other before you decided to get married?
Let's see, I don't know when he came. I'm just not clear on that. I was trying to think if he was there all winter first or
Okay.
something.
Let me, what time is it now? Oh, you have to go now?
Do they have?
Okay. Send me an email tonight.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for your time. I have to
Okay.
take off. I'm
All
sorry.
right, very good.
So how long were you and your husband married?
Since he's died, you mean?
So how long were you guys married?
Oh. We, April. Wait, I'm getting on. We married in 1940. And then he died in 1960. And he had a valve put in his heart, and then they told him then, you're only gonna live 10 years. And he lived 10 years to the day he had it put in.
Is that right?
And they told him that was all the longer, and he could have had another one put in, but he said, never again, never again. He said, well, I have that done. At the same time, he worried that he was gonna be a vegetable and be in a wheelchair.
Mhm.
That just worried him sick. And I said, he was fishing just the day after we came back from a rock show at Grand Junction. And he died instantly while he was fishing. And it was such a sudden thing. The mortuary were telling us that he had the pole holding it, no, let's see, yeah, in this hand, and in his hand he had the hook with the worm on, and it just, as if, and that's the way he went over, and that's the way they found him.
Is that right?
And Lynn had to get help. They finally had some forest rangers come and help him. And this happened at 2 in the afternoon, and they didn't find him till 9 that night, and Lynn didn't get home until 3 in the morning. And I knew right away, because they always were home by 4 o'clock. And they didn't show up. And then I called the state patrol. Well, they were limited. They were short of help that night. And it was just happened that some other fisherman knew about the forest rangers up there. And Lynn told me, he said, have you seen my dad? And I said, well, I better let you.
No, that's fine. Keep going.
And he said he was supposed to, they always had a certain spot where they met. And then they went to the pickup and had their lunch, ate it, and then drove home, so. And so, I'm getting off track, what I was gonna say.
So you lost him after 20 years. You'd been
But
together for
anyway,
20
yeah.
years, yeah.
That would have been our, in April, we had our 40th anniversary, and then he died in June the 8th, yeah. So he's been gone for 25 years.
Hmm. Well, the memories accumulate.